Hey Teela Jammers, how are you doing? It's a new month. I'd like to talk about making sound decisions. I think I spoke about this before actually, but I think with this topic area, we are looking at, our personality, how we, let's say, cope through certain situations, and in particular, when we have to rise above, situations where we are forced or pressured into something. My son. So he's finished his homeschooling and just watching his program at the moment. But I guess let's get into this topic. Let's talk about when we have the right intentions, the right speech, but we have
lasers.
Isaac. Please, can you shh? Making a video. We have the right intentions, the right speech, but we are not going about things in the way that we need to because of the situation that is pressuring us to make a decision in haste. So, I mean, I don't know about you, but there are many situations where we feel we have to apply ourselves in a quick way. And sometimes that is life. You get to the airport, your plane is cancelled, you have a meeting the next morning. What do? You go and you speak to someone and they say, well, flight's going to be, the next one out is in 2 days' time or the next morning, and you're not going to make the meeting. What can you do? And that's just one scenario. What if it's, setting an intention to work on, your confidence? And, I wouldn't say depression and anxiety is something that holds people back to making sound decisions, but where confidence or maybe just who you are, like, I think I've mentioned to you before that when I started Teela Jam, I was very codependent. I was very assured in what other people validated me as. So anything that I intended to do was very much overlooked. And when I felt that I had to please someone or adapt to or conform to another person's ideals, that was my comfort, because I felt like I couldn't go against the grain and make sound decisions. I couldn't be comfortable in my own skin. I had to have the ascension that someone else knows best. And I guess it happens to many of us where we're in situations that we feel like we have to have backup, or we have to have a witness, or we have to have support. And in line with that, when we're thinking about who we are, that essentially takes us away from who we are. We don't actually stipulate towards our needs, our wants, our desires. Progression is very much about knowing what sets you back and what your strengths are, where your threats may take you. So if we're, looking at, making sound decisions, it's not that we should, lay them on somebody else. It's that we should have the intention to grow from whatever we go through. So for example, sorry, little one's she's just gotten up. I was actually going to speak about her actually. So when I went into labour with her, I actually wasn't with my partner, and we were going through a rough patch. But in my family, it had been arranged that he came to be with me in the delivery room. Now, to this day, it's not something I regret, but it's something I wish I had talked about more. And I think the reason why I felt like I had to make this decision in haste to allow him to be in the delivery room was because of guilt. It was because I felt like, okay, I have to allow this to happen. When essentially we were going through a rough patch, and what I didn't need was something stressful. And it wasn't him per se, but it was just how awkward, the whole situation was. And that was the something. But him being there and us not having a connection, but her being the connection, was the pressure was on. And I guess I'm not, young at heart. And when I say young at heart, I mean like someone that, is kind of mean spirited, and I think I'm not saying that to say that young people are quite mean, but there are many ways that one can be immature. There are many ways that one can kind of find themselves being disrespectful, because many of the time we just want to be heard. And sometimes as a young person, even as a child, they can just say things that are quite rude. But I don't mean in that way. I don't mean like honest with, the intention of just saying what it is. I mean like, maliciousness. So when I made this decision, it was very much in haste. It was very much not thought through. And so, when I talk about making sound decisions, we have to remember who we are and what we feel we need in that moment. And I think having a child is a very vulnerable moment. So the decision to have certain people in the room or around you and the child, it's not a decision to make in haste. It's a decision to really think it through and to really understand that this is not something that I just go and do. I have to be intentional. I have to rise above any kind of situations that can come across. And this all comes with making a decision sound, because it just has to make sense. It has to feel right. It has to acknowledge all the beauties of the right intention and having the right speech. So when we are doing anything, when we are learning to be ourselves, and really and truly in life we are never like in full knowing. I think every kind of journey that we go through, and especially in this era of making a decision, you're not gonna fully know until you get through it. And so like that's why it's very important to make a decision sound. We will have many moments where we have to go, okay, snap, I need to make a decision right now in this moment at this time. But where I talk about actually making a sound decision, there's plenty of time to really look forward to something and know for yourself that, yeah, I did okay. I made the right decision. It's all right. So I guess what I'll put forward to you is, I guess it's something for you to think about when you are in a state of knowing, and that doesn't mean you know everything, but it's in a state of like, okay, this feels like it's an okay, go era or go situation. If you are feeling like it's a stop or a red light, then you need to make obviously a different decision, a different sound decision that allows you to feel that this is okay for you to go forward and do. So what I usually do in terms of making sound decisions is it's a pros and cons evaluation. And whenever it comes to okay, what do I need to do here? It is a red light situation. And my daughter's actually leaning on my t-shirt. I'm wearing a confidence themed t-shirt. But where it comes to acknowledging a situation that you're going through, it is about saying, okay, what is good about this situation, what is not so good about this situation, and how can I work through these things to make a sound decision, like make it as suitable as it can be. So that's kind of what I do. I'd love to hear more about what you do. This is actually centered on the orange theme, the personality themed line. And so I think I made it kind of in line with who we are, because I think naturally we all are predisposed to making mistakes. But we are also equipped with the ability to turn those mistakes into, purposeful situations that help us to grow. So whatever you do, if you feel like something isn't sounding right, if you feel off about something, if something is moving too quickly, take time to redecide. Realign yourself with the pros and cons of the situation so that you can make it sound for yourself. Anyway, I'm going to sort little one out and I'll be with you in the next one. So remember to choose what you love and love what you choose.